isn't it? Okay, your most important research. I trust you. This is only about 6 or 7 slides, so just stay with me for this, and then we've got some work to do. Like I said, the starting point is you. You all said, let's go and start a business. Oh, we need to write a business plan. No. We need to start with you. You are the start point for any business idea. Because we all said, I would love to own a, whatever it is, cafe, most of my students. I have to slap that out of them, but they all want to do that. So we have to analyse the you. We need to understand your fitness. No, we're not going to see if you can deadlift 220 kilos. Fitness in the sense of you're fit. You're fit for this business idea that you've got. Because we can't change, really. Well, not without years and years of psychological work. We're basically stuck with the you. But the opportunity, we can change depending on the you. And this is why this is quite a reverse to what a lot of people will talk about, find an idea and then resource. So we've got you, which we can't change, so let's find an idea or an idea that fits well with that. Your experience, believe me, your opportunity is going to come from your experience. There's a reason why that acorn becomes the oak tree, you know, it was destined to become that. There's a reason why you've lived the life you've lived today. The reason is that is the experience that's going to fund or it's going to direct you to your next step. Life isn't about going from here to, not particularly entrepreneurial life, or starting a business is not about I was going this way and then I decided to completely go off into this tangent. You tell me that, you scare the life out of me. What I want to hear when I'm talking to you, and we'll get the opportunity to talk one-on-one later in the course, I want to hear how this idea you've got makes perfect sense to all of the experiences you've been through. Some of those might be bad experiences, but there's an experience pathway behind every good idea. Now you can come up with this idea that's completely outside of your experience, but you'll scare the life out of me. Unless you say, oh, it's okay, Pete, I'm actually going in with a guy that knows all about this part. I'm just oh, okay, good. So that's what I'll be looking for. But mostly your experience plays a big role in getting a business going. The resources that you've got, which is your skills, your market intelligence, your networks, who you know, what you know, that's really important. And again, yeah, your market intelligence, what do you know about this market that you're getting into? And if you're on the inside, you know, I want to go into education and I happen to immerse myself in that every day because I want to be totally informed of this market that I'm wanting to be involved in. So market intelligence is an incredibly important thing. So we talk about this, and I did write an answer to this on Quora when someone said, when's the right time to start a business? And basically the right time to start a business is when all these factors are in place. Let me run around them. Environment, it's exactly the same as, you know, if we're looking for a metaphor, it's the same as farming. If you're gonna have a successful crop, you're looking for, you know, the right seed in the right grounds at the right time with the right sort of husbandry will create the right sort of agricultural skills will create the right crop. And we're the same. You know, when we're starting a business, we do the same. The environment's got to be fertile. It's either going through some sort of change, this environment, or it's going through some sort of growth, and that you've got intensive market intelligence about this particular thing that you're going into. Your resources, the resources that you have are unique. They're unique resources. Maybe your father-in-law owns a factory or something like that, or you happen to have been the only person in Australia that knows all about a particular thing. You know, there's unique resources that you need to be having. I don't want to hear about that you've got no unique resources in what you're going into. What is it that you've got that sets you apart from other people? Something that's rare, something that's expensive for another person to copy. Something that's almost an unfair advantage. You know, you have an unfair advantage. I'd love to hear that. You know, you think, I've got this unfair advantage in the market. That's exactly what we'll look at. Or it might even be a gift. Your experience, there's 3 areas you need experience. How much small experience business have you had? How many small businesses have you run? You need that. You know, small business is not just big business downscale. Small business is a completely different animal to big business. How much technical domain experts do you have? How much expertise do you have in the area that you're wanting to go into? You need to have that. How much entrepreneurial skill do you have? How many businesses have you started? Because that's an important part of the success as well. You can see how we're getting gaps in our in our plan here, haven't we? But the good news is a lot of this can be learned, and that's what your guys are here to do. And then what is the fit with you? How does it fit in terms of your timing? Don't tell me that you're about to have twins, you know? I want to open a business, but I'm about to have twins, but that shouldn't take too much trouble. That's not a good timing. Not a good time to be thinking about having a business. You know, businesses, and I've got this, an opportunity, the planets align. And if you read my article, you'll see that. Everything fits. The planets align. It just makes perfect sense. I've got in there meaning to life. This thing that you want to do has a connection to your meaning to life. You actually have a view about what your life should be. And this thing that you want to do has a connection to that. There's no disconnect between your business idea and what you think your life should be. It fits your personality. You know, don't go telling me that you're going to create this great sales and marketing program if you're a person that actually likes to sit at home or sit in an office and do research. You know, the market, the match is not there. And it has to have your passion. We talked about Steve Jobs day one. You know, he just said you've got to have a passion for this thing. And while it's not necessarily essential, boy, it helps. Because there's some dark days. There's some miserable days. There's some goddamn hard days. But what keeps you going is you wake up the next morning and say, well, what else am I going to do? This is what I want to do with my life. This is what I have a passion for. I could do other things and I'd be comfortable, but it's not what I want to do in my life. I want to spend my life doing this because I love it. Actually, I really love it. It's hard, but I love it. And you have to have that, you know. When you've got all those things together, let's just run through some of the things we need to do. So your business needs, as we've talked about before, your vision, your leadership and courage, particularly, your decision making, your skills and experience, your commitment. And so when we're going to be looking at the you, we need to look at a couple of tests. One of them is multiple intelligences. We've all got about the same size brain, from what I can gather, if we did a tape measure, but all of us have got different weightings in that brain. And there was a guy, Howard Gardner, and he came up with, I won't go through them because you're going to be doing them in a test anyway. These tests, I've created a link on Facebook so that you can get to them easily, or I'll be putting the slide up, and underneath there is where you go. You need to know, of all the, I think they've got about 8 different intelligences. The schools test for 2 of them. They don't bother about the other 7, and quite often the other, 9. The other skills are often what you need to succeed in business, and they don't test for that in school. They only test your reading, writing, and arithmetic, if you like. So there's a test you can do on that to see where it is you're strong, and I need to know that. If I'm going to coach you in this course, which I'm happy to do, I need to know what are your intelligence strengths, because we need to get, remember, we need to match an idea that matches those intelligence strengths. We also need to talk about personality types. This goes back to the ancient Greeks, who came up with basically 4 temperament types. You might hear them. Some people talk about being phlegmatic or sanguine or cleric or melancholy. You know, these are all temperament types, and since then there's a lot of people that have developed that. Myers-Briggs is probably one that you might have heard of in a corporate setting. Quite often you do that test. This one here, Myers-Briggs, it's not Myers-Briggs test, but it's a simple one that you can do online that gives you a 4-digit. You know, you get the EFTJ or INTJ or whatever. You need to know what that is, and on the test I've asked you to go and check out what sort of jobs that person should be doing, or what sort of jobs would that person be good at, and what are the strengths? What are the strengths of that particular personality? Because remember, we're trying to make sure that this business idea you've got matches all that. So when I find out what all these things are, and then you tell me what your idea, I'll sort of say, well, so how do you get that match? How does it work again? So another test. This is another one, DISC profile. These are things that we can go and read about. There's a link down the bottom there, which I'll make sure you get. That we all, you know, we're either people or task orientated. Most of us have got you know, we either manage people well or we're very task orientated. Some of us are very outgoing, some of us are very reserved. So in this quadrant you become more a compliance person. In that quadrant you're more an influencing person. Up there you're more dominance. Down here you're more steady. Each of those quadrants are not good and bad. They would just determine what business that you should be going into. So we're going to be looking at that. There's also a learning style. We all have a preference for learning style. Some of us like to learn by reading. Some like to learn by visual. Some like to learn by listening. I can see most of you would rather have a pillow when I'm talking, but that's okay. Some of us learn with a pillow. Some of us learn kinesthetically. Some of us like to learn by tactile, by doing things, by clicking things, by interactive. We all have a different learning style. I'd like to know what yours is as well. That's really important. So what we have is another worksheet. Thanks, Phil. What we have is another worksheet, which is just like the last one, except this is worksheet 3. And this is, first of all, is your mindset, which you've already done tonight. So you can